I thought it might be helpful to post some education and my commentary in relation to the Department of Finance proposed tax regime change. So my educational piece is for my fellow Canadians struggling to find out what all this fuss has been about, that as small business owners and physicians and farmers and accountants, etc., so darn cranky these days. So the Finance Department, the Finance Minister has proposed a tax regime overhaul in which he plans to close, and I'll use his words for now, loopholes available to incorporated small business owners and professionals such as lawyers and accountants and physicians. So here are the proposed changes. First, small business corporations will no longer have the ability to spread income amongst non-active family members. Splitting income with lower income family members allows a family to spread the tax burden amongst the family unit, which creates tax efficiency. Second, small business owners and professionals will no longer be able to allow non-active assets like investments in cash, etc., to grow within a corporation without suffering some punitive tax liabilities. And third, upon the eventual sale of the small business corporation shares, the owner will no longer be able to multiply access to the capital gains exemption. And that exemption is a mechanism available to all taxpayers that owns private corporation shares without having to pay tax on the sale of those shares. It's kind of like our principal residence that when we sell our principal residence, we don't pay tax on that. And currently, there are tax planning opportunities which allow for the spreading of this exemption amongst family members. So here's my quick and dirty description of the current tax regime for corporate small business owners and professionals. We currently have a virtually perfect integrated tax regime, and tax integration means a dollar earned through a corporation which is ultimately paid out to its owners is taxed at the same rate that an employee earning a paycheck. But when you're comparing, it must be looked at in the whole. In other words, the personal and the corporate taxes combined to see the big picture. Employees have one level of income tax to pay to get their overall tax bill. Owners of small business corporations pay the same level of tax, but at two different levels: the personal tax portion and the corporate tax portion. But the total of these two tiers equal the same as an employee. It's currently a level playing field for the corporate self-employed and employees working for an employer. It's actually a pretty fair and actually eloquent system. Now, before I comment on the benefits of our current regime, first understand these two basic and absolute rules. First, and we all know this one, we're all going to die. And second, the government will get every ounce of tax they deserve in the end. Both are just a timing game. So yes, owners of small business corporations can put off paying the personal portion of the tax by not paying monies out to themselves. But they will only do this to reinvest the money into their corporations to help grow their companies, or in lots of cases survive through tough times. And I see the latter of this far too often. Small business owners do have the ability to divert money over to a holding company, but they only do this for two reasons: to save for retirement or to also create a padding for the hard times. If they are saving money for retirement, they will invest the monies into investment accounts, and that investment income is taxed fully and fairly. And when they eventually draw the monies out, the government gets the rest of their taxes. The other two loopholes is the ability for the small business owner to split dividend income with family members, as well as utilize that capital gains exemption that I talked about amongst the family members. And this is true. Income can be split with family members not active in the business. The capital gains exemption can be split amongst family members. But I know you know some small business owners, and I know you've seen the sacrifices not only they have endured, but what their family have endured. I know I've lost a lot of time with my family and struggled to make ends meet while my wife picked up the slack for me, and there's been lots of sleepless nights that I've not made it home to kiss my children goodnight. This is a family affair, believe me. The current system is a very evolved, tried and true system. Okay, so my final piece is my commentary, and it's directed towards the finance minister. So first off, the use of the word loophole is insulting our intelligence. A loophole is by its very nature a sneaky little legal maneuver brilliantly thought up by some clever lawyers and tax accountants to avoid paying tax. What you are calling loopholes were deliberate systems designed by past governments who were playing the long game. They were trying to inspire, elevate, and grow a nation's economy. Calling this incentivized, fair, and equal playing field a loophole insults the forethought of these designers and, frankly, the Canadian people, not to mention your file, Minister. Are you really supposed to believe the small business owners have brilliantly jumped through these obscure loopholes to avoid tax? This was a wise and noble nod by the designers of the current regime to the struggle of small business owners and their families. Look, we live in a great country on many levels, but here's where we suck. We rank 16th in productivity amongst first world nations. We live in the second largest landmass country in the world, rich in natural resources, yet we are only half as productive as our European counterparts. We need to be smarter. We need to innovate and find ways to be more productive. And I know it seems to be the trendy thing amongst world leaders these days. Right or wrong, just do bold things. Just throw lots of blame around. Paint pictures of corporate small business owners as fat cat, champagne swizzling, cigar smoking millionaires. Get the attention and the votes of a misinformed political base and win elections. But minister, I even heard you humbled yourself to say these new rules would affect you as well. But don't you have $30 million? How many small business owners do you know that have this kind of money? Please. Small business owners are in a constant state of struggle no matter what brave face they put on. They need your help. As Canadians, we love to say we're in the best country in the world, but we rank 16th in gross domestic product per working hour. We are not productive. We have to get off our high horse and demand more of ourselves. Start raising the bar that we hold our politicians to. Let's not reward them for targeting our small business owners and our doctors, but because we want a thriving economy and a healthcare system. Let's reward our politicians for coming up with systems that nurture the very people we need to help elevate us to new levels. I mean, 98% of the jobs in this country are provided by a small business. That's a Statistics Canada stat. This is our country's largest employer. I mean, where do you think the rest of the bulk sits? Maybe the other 2%? I mean, if you must go after someone, why not go after them? Or better yet, come up with something inspirational. I know it's hard. Damn it, no one knows that more than me. Inspiring a nation is the harder game. It's the longer game. But show me one game in the world worth playing that isn't hard. One that doesn't demand the best of its players. Blood, sweat, tears, and many, many sleepless nights. One that inspires its players not only to realize their full potential, but to inspire the next generation to do the same. That's how you create a culture of excellence. Show me that you're willing to play the long game, inspire small business, and you are literally inspiring the Canadian nation. That is what this country needs, and that is what the next generation needs. Let's forget the loophole talk and start opportunity talking. And to the rest of my friends, colleagues, clients, and fellow Canadians, please make us think, people. Call your MPs, write letters. Whether you own a small business corporation or not, you are Canadian. Help elevate our country. Thank you for watching.